Hello, everyone, and welcome to Horror Not Oasis, a radio show where we discuss all the latest movies and news from the world of horror. Joining me tonight, as always, is my co-host Ian. Ian, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
That's good to hear. How'd everything go with the Christmas?
Christmas actually was pretty decent this year,
That's
thankfully.
great to hear. That's great to hear. Again, I hope everyone else had a relaxful and an joyful Christmas, and we are here to finish up the Christmas Murderland marathon for our final show of the year. It has been one hell of a marathon. We pulled double duty twice, and
Ooh.
that's kind of special. Like let's just throw another film in there just because, and that's what we did a few weeks back, and we decided let's do it again this week. Let's close it out with another a double feature, and I picked one, Ian picked one, and man, what choices we picked. But well, to each their own. Getting into it a little bit nonchalantly. But yeah, we're always a lot of choices we could have picked over the course of the month. Some things came and went. We didn't get a chance to do the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake. Maybe down the road. But it's just one of those where, again, things happened on my end too, where I wasn't able to go out and see it. Weather's been bad, family members been sick, so it's kind of difficult on my end. And again, Ian's got things going on in his end, so it's kind of hard to get to theaters nowadays.
Yeah.
So we just make do with what we can do and push out these shows and still manage to enjoy and have fun with it. And that's what we did with these picks. And Ian, our first pick was your pick that you wanted to
I'm sorry.
do. That you wanted, like, you mentioned this one because it came up on Tubi and like, hey, this sounds fun. Let's do this. And then I decided to change it up for last week's film, and then you said I still want to do this one, so it was your pick, and that's I Know What You Did Last Christmas. And let's just say that I kind of knew what this was 20 seconds into it, because
Oh yeah.
20 seconds into it, there's an image that comes across the screen, and a very special one to our hearts. Apparently, Ian, we started the year with her, and we're going to end the year with her. We got ourselves a Louisa Warren produced film. She was here at the beginning, the middle with Mountain Shark, and finally close out the year with I Know What You Did Last Christmas from Louisa and Scott Jeffrey of Champ Dog Films. That's just a sign of low budget quality right there. Because you're just like, all right, I know what I'm in for. And I Know What You Did Last Christmas. I mean, with a title like that, you pretty much know what the film is. It's a Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer ripoff. All they did was just take the mold and repainted it their own color. There's not really much of a difference. I mean, obviously the setup is a little different because the character, well, they don't run anybody over per se. There's no accident per se, like I Know What You Did Last Summer. This one sort of takes a toll for like the later films of like the last couple years of like slasher films, like Easter Bunny Massacre, Easter Bunny Massacre 1 and 2. It's very similar to that, but we'll get into it a little bit with the plot of the story. So, I Know What You Did Last Christmas follows a group of people. There's again a lot of names, so at least we got the names and not no names here. We got Casey and Nico. I'm just going to use them at first. Casey and Nico, they're getting Casey at first because we're introduced to her at the very beginning. She gets a letter in the mail with her name on it, saying, "Hey, there's going to be this, an invitation basically to this house you're invited. And so she gets one. Nico, she goes to this house, and like everyone that was there for the incident that happened a year earlier also has an invitation. So we're introduced to Casey, we're introduced to Amber, Nico. I'm just going to go through the names: Trey, Aaron, Dex, Leela, Jules, and Sam. And we'll get into a few of them a little bit later. And so they're all at this house. They have their invitation set out on the table, and they're just kind of reminiscing and talking and bringing up the past of basically what happened to their friend Millie, who a year prior they were at a party, and for some joke gag, they decided to lock her out of the house, and she just wandered the woods until she froze to death, I guess. And so they're like, Casey and Nico are kind of regretful for everything that happened, and they should have called the cops, they should have done this, and like they don't know what, they're trying to figure out like why they're at this house. And at the same time, we have a Santa killer with a black mask over his face, but he still has the beard and everything, so it's just a black mask and a Santa getup, and they're basically picking off each member of the party one by one. And that is I Know What You Did Last Christmas. Now overall, like I said, it's your prototypical late 90s, early thousands slasher film. This is like your Final Stab, your what was it? Final Examination, just your prototypical slasher films around that era. Like I've Been Waiting for You, Do You Want to Know a Secret, where a group of people come together, and even it kind of reminded me of the one that we did last year, The Naughty List of Mr. Scrooge, which was like the very same as this. Like people come to a house and then they're all picked off one by one by a guy in a Scrooge mask, whereas this one's just a Santa killer. And overall, it's not the best. It's not amazing. It's just redundant. You pretty much know what you're getting in for. It same rules, same everything. It's just been done to death, and it doesn't really add much flair to anything. It's just a quick cash grab, or just one of those, just like it's a quick watch. Just like it's quick, get it in, get it out. It's just like we can make some money off this type of film. The story, again, it's fine for what it is. I mean, the setup's okay. I mean, it's just, again, like I said, it's just like they take the mold of I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream, and they just took it out of and they just reused it. They didn't change much anything. They just painted it different colors and just called it something else, even though it's the exact same work of someone else, but it's different colored. Yeah, there's like the kills, like there's okay kills. I mean, for what it is, there's nothing too outlandish in nature, but at least there's like some okay deaths, compared to some other ones that we've reviewed at this marathon. So there's that stands out. There's like the icicle in the throat, and then there's the workout bicycle, which is pretty decent. Again, there's just like a lot of, I wouldn't say issues with the film. It's just basic. That's the only thing really comes out of it. It's just a basic slasher film with a Christmas coding. The reveals of everything just doesn't really. I mean, you can kind of see them coming. Like when you introduce a character that isn't in the group of friends and just he randomly shows up. Like, okay, I know you're part of this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's too on the nose. Just random person just showing up like, oh, I have nothing to do with this. Oh, yes, you do. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, it's nothing to write home about. Like, if you just want a quick slasher movie, I mean, it's only 70 minutes, so you're in and out. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't change the mold at all. So if you want something simple and basic and just regurgitated, this is the film to watch. If you have a certain type of film that you like and you just want to see another one, this does that. This is just those slashers that they churned out after Scream. It's just like same old, same old. But Ian, I'll let you talk, give your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth more on it.
All right. Yeah. Whew. This one was a long watch because hardly anything really happens. Like, there's a couple people die here and there. Keys going missing. That's really it. Like, I mean, I was 40 minutes into this film when I was like, does anything? I messaged Havoc and I was like, does anything happen? And he said, just wait. Literally, as soon as he said that, then we see a person with like Christmas lights wrapped around their neck. And I'm like, okay, so nothing truly happens in this movie. It's all just talking. Like, that's most of what this movie is just talking. And it was
or bickering. Yeah,
they were talking, yelling, making snide comments at each other. It wasn't until the last like 20 minutes of the film anything really happens. And it wasn't terrible. Surprisingly, like, this is one of the better movies we've watched from this company, but it's still not great. I wanted more from it. I wanted more, like, I don't know. I was mostly expecting like a Black Christmas ripoff or something, but this it didn't give me what I wanted. I wanted like campy. I wanted either tongue in cheek or like more, like, at least like more hyper violent film than what we got. Like, this movie was too straight laced. And like I said, nothing happens. This movie is just like, there's not much to talk about because nothing happened. Nothing of like, there was no deaths that stood out. There was like, oh my God, did you see that? Like, it was just like, okay, I've seen this done a million times. And I mean, the reasoning was okay of why everything happened. Like, we've seen movies like this before. Where, especially like a Christmas movie, where a person who loved someone does what they do. And, I'm not going to give it all away, but like just hinting at stuff, like, it's mild spoiler, but it just,
yeah, just it's been the same redundant storyline. Like I said, like that was a storyline for like Easter Bunny Massacre, like the exact same plot. Like, to go to the house, but instead of a Santa killer, there's a guy in a bunny outfit and or a bunny mask, and like it's the exact same thing. Like, jilted lovers and stuff like that. It's just like it's monotonous after a while, and like for 2025, you gotta kind of change it up a little bit. You can't just like, I mean, obviously, being that the company that they are, and they kind of turn stuff out there on the cheap and not really give too much thought on things. But again, like, it is, like I said, it is what it is. It's just like, just basic, and like that's like what happened with Naughty List and Mr. Scrooge. Like, it was fine for what it was. It was an okay slasher, but it was just basic. and this is the exact same thing. Like it didn't really stand out, and it's like you, you have moments where like a person's
Well,
holding a comically large knife to someone's
yeah, I
throat.
was
And like,
going to say that was the one thing that did stand out from this movie was just when it cuts to the scene of who the killer was. They're just holding a. You can tell it's a prop knife. It's so
mhm.
funny, and I was like, because it was just so thick and plastic looking. But I was just like, my God, that's just funny.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I messaged you like as soon as that happened. Like that's a comically large knife, and like I don't,
yeah,
I don't know. When you read that, you forgot it. It was just like when you watched it, it's just funny. Just one of those things where you're just like, what does he mean? That's a comically large knife. And then eventually, when it happens, I'm sure you're like, oh, that's what it meant.
it was just. I kind of liked the Santa Killer though.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I liked the way he looked. I just wish they did more with him instead of making him just hide in a damn corner.
Well,
I was like,
there's some things in the film. I mean, we're probably going to get into spoiler territory for a few things, but like, there's parts in the film that when I watched it and thinking back on it, don't make sense. So you have uh not Trey. He's sort of the asshole friend in a sense, and like he's banging Aaron, not Aaron, but was it Amber? It was one of them, and I think it was Aaron is the one that he's banging. And like, oh, she's way out of my league. Can you believe I'm having sex with that? And like he's telling that to Nico, and he's the first one to die. Trey is, and he gets wrapped around a fence with Christmas lights wrapped around him, and his like I think his neck's slit as well. And so he's just hanging out there for like the majority of the film. And then later on, there's a scene with Sam, who is the standout, the standalone character, and who was at the party, but technically was at the party. Again, it's convoluted, and um, he's like, "What's this?" And he goes over there and he sees the inflated pumpkin, not pumpkin, but penguin, and then he sees Trey on the fence, and like he's making like "Oh my God" faces, and like, wait a second, there's like parts. Again, once you see the film, I mean, even if spoilers. Sam's part of the plan. I'll just say that. So like, why is he? Is it just for the audience as a red herring to watch and find out? Because it just seems like it's just shoehorned in there. Because like, why would he do a shocked face if he's a part of it? And it just like
yeah,
threw me off. And then you have Trey, who's sort of I wouldn't say the geek, but I guess he kind of he calls himself a nerd. But like he's drawing all this stuff. And later on in the film, there's like parts of the film too that like are missing. Like there's the scene with Nico, and somehow he's cut, but you never see how he got his leg cut. It's just implied that he was attacked, and he's just sitting outside on the fountain base, and just like, oh my leg, oh I can't do anything, oh my leg, and it's just like he's sitting out there, and like, how did he get cut? What happened there? And then the one girl, she gets attacked in the jacuzzi, and like he's still sitting there with his leg cut. Like, was that supposed to be a red herring? Because if you watch, again, usually that's a red herring too. Like you fake an injury and you become part of it. And then so going back to Trey, so he's doing all these drawings, and like nothing really major happens. He's sort of a red herring in a sense. The way he's acting. But what gets me is that he gets these phone calls, and he gets one phone call, and as soon as the killer on the other end says something to him, like he like has a aneurysm or something, and he just like spazzes out. But I guess I don't like it. And then they just don't even make any mention of him after the fact, after everything's revealed. Like, what about Trey? Was he okay? Where's Trey at? not Trey. Dex is the one I'm talking about. It's like, what happened to Dex? Did he just have a brain aneurysm? Like, what happened to him? He was perfectly fine, and then this phone call did something to him. like, oh, I'm gonna get you, and then he just spazzes out, and then that's the end of Dex. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, and that's the one thing that like kind of just like threw me for a loop. Like, what happened to Dex? Like, oh, obviously we're gonna get something from Dex. He's gonna come in and save the day, right? No,
Yeah.
that doesn't happen because it just kept like, everyone the main character after the reveal and like still in peril. Like, well, obviously Dex is gonna come in here and do something because Dex is still alive, right? Obviously not. Which I don't understand what happened to him. It's just one of those Louisa-isms where it just happens.
Right.
No reason for the central plot of the story for its main character to just like, oh, he's just dead now for answering a phone call and the person talking. Like, okay. It just threw me for a loop. Like, okay, where's Dex at? I don't know. It just has like little moments like that, and then like again, the comically large knife is ridiculous at the end of it when the reveal is happening. And again, it just plays out like every LGBTQ sort of slasher
Yeah.
in that way, in that regard. But yeah, I didn't hate it. Like I said, it's a very basic watch. It's just one of those, it's just junk food, honestly. It's just like something easy, something quick. It settles the appetite for now, but you want something better eventually. And that's what it felt like. It was just like, it's quick and cheap and hits the spot for the time being. Nothing amazing. If you like it, you like it. It's just, it hits all the marks, and it doesn't really change the game very much. It's just cheap and easy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, there's nothing else really to go on about. I mean, just, basic, like you said. It's just a basic film. Nothing happens. Most of it. Just like a good movie to probably like put on and just as a background, because it's not really anything you have to pay attention to. Because like if you pay too much attention to it, you're gonna just, if you're not paying attention to this movie, things will make you think, oh man, I just must have missed something, instead of like paying attention to it and like, oh man, they missed something.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's all I got for this.
Well, that's good. That's perfectly fine. I think we got as much as we could out of it without going too deep into spoiler territory, even though I did give some away, so apologies, not so much. But I gave one away, but not the other, so we're good there.
Yeah.
We kind of eased around it. So going on to our next choice, and this is the one that I mentioned last week, and I was like, Ian, we haven't had a Krampus film. Like, we need something with a Krampus in it. And I wasn't going to be happy with this marathon unless we have a Krampus attached to it. Because there just wasn't that many out. And especially this year, there's like none. We got a double dose last year, and what a double dose it was. And we needed Krampus. And so I decided, let's do Twas The Night. Because it's an anthology film. It has a bunch of different stories attached to it, one involving a Krampus. That's all I knew. And so that was my pick. So let's get into this. Twas the Night. Follow the wraparound story deals with Tess, Will, and Brian. And they're at this house waiting for a phone call. They're all colleagues waiting on this phone call to take place. And so they're just drinking, just doing normal stuff, talking back and forth. Tess isn't really a big fan of Will, but she's gonna, make headway and just deal with it. And Will and Brian are just like, again, drinking, talking back and forth. just normal chit chat conversation, and then Brian goes outside and he gets knocked out, and then Tess also eventually gets knocked out, and then Will gets knocked out. And what we have is we're introduced to Maya, who is a little girl, I guess 12, 13, somewhere in there. And basically, Tess, Will, and Brian is sort of involved into this black market, per se, without getting in too deep into details, of trafficking and just a lot of black market stuff. And plus, they kill as well. And so Maya, basically, what happened is that they killed her family, and then did stuff to her younger sister. Terrible, horrible things, and she wants revenge. And so she wants to do things a little differently. So she sits there and she says, I'm going to tell you stories that my parents told me. They're not going to be exactly the same because memory's faded, being so many years, however many years, but they're good just for what they are, and they're still stories. And so she proceeds to tell 3 different stories. The very first story revolves around an elf, and we have a little girl that's this is Tess's story, so it's the elf, and it's about a little girl, and she wakes up, and it's again Christmas Eve, and she hears strange sounds going through the house, and she of course thinks it's Santa, and she comes across a little elf, and she starts chasing it. It's eating cookies, drinking milk, and she's trying to capture or just talk about the elf, and things go on from there. And then Will's story is Jack Frost. And to be honest with you, it's the exact same story as the elf story, because it involves a younger girl, and she's at the house, and then Jack Frost appears out of a present and starts attacking and chasing her. And then Brian's story revolves around Gingy Man, or the gingerbread man, and that involves a guy that is captured and is he's writhing on the ground, and basically he's in this torture chamber with the Gingy Man, and like there's body parts on the table, on the floor, and Gingy Man is basically this big, heavy-set guy in a gingerbread, a ragged, ripped up, beat down gingerbread man costume, and he is sort of like telling him what to expect, like, oh, you can do this, you can do that. You're kind of broken in half because he's unable to, his legs are broken, his lower half is. And so he's just like sitting there, like sort of reveling in his not being like a good family person to his parents, and also like again being like sort of a workaholic. So he's just left there to revel. That one I liked it, but I kind of wished a little bit more. But I'll get into that. And then of course the wraparound, which also involves Krampus at the end of it. Now overall, to be perfectly honest, I didn't mind this one. I kind of dug it for what it was. Is it the best? No, but I kind of liked the last act more than the first act, because the Elf and Jack Frost stories, like I said earlier, they're exactly the same. Just swap out a little girl for a younger woman, and like that was about it. Even though the elf doesn't really attack the younger children in its story, but it's just kind of implied, where like, oh, so it's not, these aren't good people, not good people, but like the elf and the Jack Frost, I mean, they're not good beings, basically. So there's sort of a underlying tone that sets the film throughout for each of the stories, where there's more to it than oh, this is like a Christmas character. That there's more to it when you get to the end with the Krampus. Like I said, the first two stories with the elf and Jack Frost, the exact same story, just changed up a little bit. Um, the effects for the Jack Frost character is kind of a little iffy. You can see kind of the lines of the elongated chin, um, and the ears being pointed. It wasn't the worst we've seen, but it's kind of still kind of a glaring, kind of very obvious. Um, like I said, my favorite is probably the Gingy Man because I like, even though I wished it had a little bit more to it because it was sort of the more darker of the stories because like he's sitting there like talking about like killing and murdering, and I kind of wished he did a little bit more with like um I kind of wanted like maybe he like turn people into cookies, not like like take their skin off and eat like make cookies out of them or something like that. I kind of wished a little bit more one-liners, gingerbread man one-liners. But it kind of didn't go that way, but it still wasn't the worst. It's still better than the first two segments. And then the wrap around with the Krampus, I kind of enjoyed because it was something different, figuratively speaking, that you don't really see that often. I mean, obviously, Krampus is a Christmas devil, so it kind of works hand in hand. So I kind of like that aspect of the story. But overall, again, it's another short one. It's only like an hour and 17 minutes, so it's another quick watch. Even though the first two aren't the greatest, I did like the last act and the wraparound together because it did do pretty cohesive everything. Because after Maya was done telling the story, she would attack someone for revenge. So again, I dug it for what it was. But Ian, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then we'll go back and forth more.
Definitely, this was the stronger of the two films because this one actually had more of a story to say. But yeah, and like I really liked the way the doll looked. I wanted more. That I felt like that throughout most of this was like I want more from what is going on. The stories I felt were kind of a little too short. Mostly because
that's a big detriment. They were just like quick. Like as soon as something happened, they were done and on to the next one. Like they needed to pad it out, especially with the first two. Like change it up a little bit,
Yeah, and I get it, the wraparound story, but they spent so much time on it, and it's like they dragged out the wraparound story to the point where everything else was just boom, 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 and I was like, okay, like I get it, like we could have got most of it, with a shorter exposition instead of like this drawn out long silences, and all that. Like everything was just completely just drawn out for almost no reason. And I was just like, man, I was like, I get it. I get what they're trying to do with the anthology and all that. And then the wraparound story to like let us know.
Yeah, it's like sort of like you mentioned it. I think last week, or no, it was the one Christmas Bloodbath, because you brought up Tales from the Hood and like how that one progresses the wraparound and like how each story kind of rolls into the other, and then you have the big reveal at the end, and it makes it goes into it perfectly. This one, like the stories were just like as soon as they start, they ended, and it didn't no time to breathe. Like I wanted more out of the Gingy Man story. I wanted more attacks out of the Jack Frost story. They could have just elevated the elf story a little bit more and have her like chase around and introduce her siblings later on, and then like have the elf do its thing, because as soon as the elf is involved and the children come in and like, oh, it's over, like, oh,
Yeah.
you're on the naughty list, and like, it's really that done is like 5 minutes, and I just like, like it just started like each one was just like so short, but I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine. I wanted more like build up with all of it. I mean, the Jack Frost story started off so strong. I was like, oh man, this is going to be. I was like, okay, the first one was kind of a dud, even though it's a doll, and I love killer doll movies. And I was like, okay, I didn't get what I wanted out of that. And
yeah, the Jack Frost one started out like a Are You Afraid of the Darks episode. Like,
I know.
I
was like, oh shit. I was like, like him coming out of the bag. That was such a cool like entrance. And then he got his like magic wand or whatever that was like all the spikes were wobbling. Like all they were like and it not just like like the whole thing was like, and I was like, man, you could have made that out of foam and it would have been stiffer. I was like, I've seen people do that with cosplay, but I'm like, and then I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, I mean, it was something to laugh, to, just kind of laugh at, like, oh my God, look at that thing wobbling. And then and then it's over. And I was like, that's it? We're not going to get, like, any more? And from him, I was like, that's not fun. But also, the whole concept didn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Like what we got at the end. I was very like, okay, I guess. Like, I felt like there was like a lot that wasn't being told. Because it was just, everything just ended so quickly. And I just felt like, boom, boom, boom. Oh, now we're at the end. And this is going to it drags out for a little bit. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily like a bad ending. I just wanted more from it. Like this, I mean, it had a good setup to have. Like, I didn't even think they needed to change any of the villains. And I get it. It's kind of like the three spirits or whatever, but of death. One is to warn you. The other is to, like, I guess, eliminate you. And the other one is to judge you. Or something. Or, I don't even know what Gingy's was. Like, what his purpose was. I know he was like to dismember and stuff and get you ready for the judgment.
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, like, no, I got where you're coming from, but yeah, like the elf, like, oh, he's the one that informs you, like, oh, you've been naughty, and you're gonna be judged. Like, the whole film is basically being judged, and so there's a little bit of a hint. And so you have the elf that's like, you're on the naughty list, and then the second one with Jack Frost, and he's come to collect, basically.
Yeah.
And then you have Gingy, who's like getting you prepared for your final judgment, and then you have the wraparound where you're being judged. So
yeah,
again, as you said, like, the stories definitely needed to linger on that aspect a little more instead of just being forgotten. Like, again, I needed more of like the elf chasing kids or doing mischievous things. I needed more of that with like Jack Frost, like do other things with him, like try to like have her fight him, and like he melts and he comes back and like do something else I mean, obviously, I get it. It's low budget, so you can only make do with what you have. But like, there's some obvious things that you could have had fun with to prolong certain stories, aspects of the story, and like just having him stand there and just berate you for not being involved with your family on Christmas is just like, well, that's not really doing anything. That's just judging you. Like even, but there needed to be more like attacks or more stuff like that. Like again, with Gingy Man, there needed to be like that needed to be longer. Because like I wanted like more because he's sitting there, he's moving, playing with body parts, picking up like feet and arms, and like the
Yeah.
guy is just impaired and he can't move, and like, oh, I broke you in half, but I put you back together, and he's just sitting there, his bellowing voice, just like telling this guy, oh,
I
you go
I
ahead.
loved the way he looked.
Yeah,
Like, and I was so confused by his Christmas calories mark. I was like, is he eating the bodies? The body parts? Like, I was
I
kind of
believe
confused.
so.
That's what I mean, that's
So.
what I took from it.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I'm just like, I was just trying to figure out his role in this whole thing because that was the one that like I felt like I either missed or it wasn't explained. Because
yeah,
like it just because I mean he was just like, yeah, you're after me, you're going to be judged. And I'm like, so are you like putting them back together to be judged? Are you like taking parts from them to eat? Because he's like, you can't walk anymore. And then when they're being judged, you see the dude walking. So it's like, why would you tell him he wasn't walking? He can't walk anymore if he's going to be walking.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, it kind of falls in on itself a little bit, like especially that one, and like how the girl is like able to tell these stories, and like did she get like a hand, of like because like the people in the stories are there and at the end, so they're real people. So
yeah,
like, is she like involved, again, just even, or she just wants revenge, and like this is like the
that
Krampus
I had that
telling
same
me,
question. Yeah.
yeah, like was
Uh,
she in, like just like the bringer of bad news or something? I don't know.
well, Jack Frost, or no, it was. I think he said Gingy. I think it was might have been Gingy that said it. It was either Jack Frost or Gingy said that they were apart. They were one of the people who did the collecting, but there are others who did that. So I just assumed this girl was one of the others who was chosen to collect. Maybe
Yeah,
people who were wronged uh, and wanted to get revenge.
yeah, that would make
I
sense.
mean, that's my takeaway from that.
Yeah, it's the only way to make it like comprehend everything that's going on. So yeah. Um, but yeah, then you have again, it just needed to be a little bit longer. I mean, each story needed to just go on just 5 minutes longer. You don't have to make it. If we added 5 minutes, that's extra 10. Maybe not even five. You can cut it down to 3 minutes longer. Make it out to what 125, 130. I mean, somewhere around in there. It
Yeah.
wouldn't have really hurt the film that much. I mean, um, just give it a little bit more room to breathe with the stories. Just like as soon as the story started, it was over, and like you weren't even ready. And like, okay, let's get into this. I'm ready for Killer Jack Frost, and you said like him coming out of the present. Like, all right, this is awesome. I'm down with this, and then it's over. Like that what? A blank or something? What the hell? It's just one of those where it's just like, especially the elf one. Like as soon as that started, like, okay, I can get into this, and then you blink and it's, oh, we're done. All right then. But like I said, I still think it's one of the stronger of the marathon, even with its faults. Because I like the makeup, I like the look of the creatures. Like I liked again, it's still a little bit on the hokey side, for being an indie film. Like again, like I mentioned with Jack Frost, but I thought, like you said, with Gingy Man, like even though it's just a big dude in a onesie that's beaten the ragged, I thought he did a pretty good job and he kind of embraced the character and just went along with it, Um, and then I like to look at the Krampus, um, as well, and just like the reveal of the Krampus for being, what it is eventually. Again, I know you said you weren't like the biggest fan of like where it went to, but it kind of, again, the whole devil aspect kind of like, okay, I kind of get behind that, and like he's
Oh no,
people.
I love that part. I just meant like I just felt like the build up
Oh yeah,
to the end
yeah.
wasn't.
It was just a lot of they were just walking, right, chained up and just walking to get to him. Like they needed
Yeah,
more.
yeah, that's what I was just like. I just wanted so much more from it. I mean, I don't really know, but like, I did like the way the Krampus looked,
Yeah.
or Satan, Satan. I was just like, when Gingy started yelling, Satan was hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just, man, this movie had a lot of potential as well, though. Like, I could see this movie would have been a whole lot better, just like you said, if it was just allowed just been a little bit longer and give us just a little bit more build up between each story, because them just talking about like why you
Yeah, like
do
the
it.
elf doesn't really do much either. Like they needed more with that. Like that's the one. Like out of all of them, like they just like have the elf get into the house. He runs around downstairs, eats cookies out of the kitchen, and then he's hiding behind a shelf. Oh, you're an elf! And then the other kids come down. Like I told you, it was real. And he says, "You're on the naughty list," and it's over. Like, what was the point? Do something else. Have fun with the elf. Do something ridiculous with the elf. But they don't, and it's just like
Yeah, and I'm guessing
wasted.
those kids didn't get killed because they weren't in purgatory.
Apparently not.
So I mean, I guess that the elf was just there to warn the kids to
Well,
not be
maybe
on.
they got judged, but they were beforehand. Maybe there's like a special purgatory for children. I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, it was too ambiguous. I mean, and they made sure to let us know with the second one that these people were getting killed. So I just assumed, because they said the elf was there to just warn them, and not collect.
Yeah. And what was with the
So
other guy that was randomly there in purgatory? The bald guy. He was just some random dude. Just like, I guess I'm with your group now.
okay, I thought I might have missed something with them.
No. No, he was
I
the
don't know.
one with the guy that was paralyzed and that could walk.
Yeah, that's what I was last. I just wanted more from this movie, and it had such good potential. But the standout scene for me is, the Gingy is definitely going to be stuck in my head for a while. But that scene of Jack Frost coming out of the bag is hands down. I loved that. I loved it so damn much. I was like, that's creepy. And I was like, that's just such a cool entrance. I mean, he did look like the dude from Lazy Town. Like
I thought he looked like the Count from Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Oh yeah, Flubber or whatever his name is. Yeah, but that maybe like a combination of the two. But I just was like, man, I was like, he looks goofy, but it works. Like I thought it. I was like, man, I loved the doll, like the little elf. I loved the doll, the Jack Frost. I loved the way he looked. I loved the way Gingy looked, and I loved the way Krampus looked. I was like, this movie has like had so much potential to be so much better than what it was.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it, budget constraints or whatever. I honestly think I would like to see a sequel. I think just something to give us a little more uh backstory in to each of these characters and like
Yeah, more world
show us
lore building.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I want to see a little bit more world building, like why, like maybe we can get like why that girl was chosen, why maybe another person was chosen. Um Maybe it's like, yes, you know, you've despite all this rage, you've been on the good list this year, so we're going to let you be naughty and get your revenge on these people who have no Christmas spirit.
yeah,
Because
exactly.
like that was the thing, like I could tell that she was something. Like she had a part in it because she kept being upset by no ornaments on the tree, no real gifts under the tree.
Yeah,
And so she was just like, you do this to make it look like somebody lives here. Why would you do that? Like she kept like hounding them about the tree, and I was like, oh, okay. So this must mean she's a part of something, but explain that. Like explain why she's doing what she's doing. Like, I mean, if she's just out for revenge, that's great. Like that, I am okay with that. But how does she know these stories that end up being true?
now, do you
Or
think? Now, here's a part, Ian. Do you think that she might be the girl that was trafficked, and she's coming back to get revenge? I mean, obviously that's a stretch because she obviously says it's her sister, but maybe like some weird way that like she's come back in the form of this child or the spirit of Christmas per se to get those that's like naughty, you know, and get revenge for what's happened to them previously, you know. I don't know, it's a
I,
stretch.
I don't know. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I just like I said, I just want to know. I mean, this it wasn't a bad movie at all. Like
No.
I enjoyed it. I just had so many damn questions that I'm just like, man,
Yeah, it had more potential. I mean, the potential's already there, and I mean you can see it, and but it just
I
needed a
just
little bit more just um to it, you know. Like
yeah.
I like again needed more depth with the stories. They needed to just like extend those just a few minutes, and just like as you said, put more lore to the world and the characters, and like it would have been a solid hidden gem. Like it's still a worthy watch because it's so short and some decent effects and stories, but
Yeah.
it needed more to really bring it all home.
I mean, you know, I mean, I'm definitely like, you know, I play D&D and stuff. I'm definitely adding that Jack Frost scene to a campaign of the like a creature coming out of the fucking bag because I just love that. Like I love when things pop out of stuff. Like big creatures pop out of like small like objects. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I love that so much. It's always been one of my favorite things. And I got so excited when I saw that. Oh man.
You,
That's a scene that's gonna be stuck with me for a while.
you haven't seen Gremlin, have you? Not Gremlins, but like Gremlin. It's like this guy delivers this box, this small box, and they say something to like you can't open it or you open it and it like kills. It's like this little girl, I believe, and like so she opens it and basically it kills. It's supposed to kill like those near and dear to her basically, and so she's trying to stop it, and it's like this little legged creature that starts small and just like gets bigger as the film progresses. Like you probably need to check that out. It's not too bad. I think it might be on Tubi as well. But that you just brought that up and it just jogged the memory of Gremlin.
Yeah.
Um, you gotta look into that. But yeah, like I don't know if there's really that much else to say. I think we pretty much covered like everything that we kind of wanted and what the film was. Like like I said, it's one of those. It's like it's not too bad. I mean, it has like I like the message because it like you don't really see that too often. Like with Krampus, the Christmas Devil, like because like devil's in his name, so obviously you should do stuff like that, and not just go around smacking women's asses with rods. But it definitely was kind of what I got a good Krampus, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted a solid Krampus film, and
I wanted
it's not.
more Krampus. Like, I kind of wish he showed up a little bit more
Yeah,
in between, but
like I could have seen that, like giving him like, well, she was already the storyteller, but like having like an overlay of like showing like a leg or something, or just like an arm, like they did when they eventually showed the reveal, but just like foreshadowing of like, oh, we're getting there, like after each story, show
yeah,
like the person, like after the person's like after the story, and like they show up and like in this purgatory realm, and then just like have like a leg or an arm or an ear or the hair or just something where it's just like this foreboding figure eventually about to reveal itself
I
at
mean,
the
if
end
you
of
look
the
at
film.
the movie poster, it looks like they're going to have a more prominent role in the film than just like a short uh appearance at toward the end
Mm-hmm.
where they judge you. And I was like, okay. I mean, that's fine. I was quite okay with him doing that. I just kind of just wanted more from everything, even the Krampus. I
Yeah,
wanted more from the stories in the Krampus than I did the storyteller because we've seen so many, anthology films that do the
yeah,
wraparound story and they do it in a much more efficient way.
yeah. And I think we were mentioning this, but it was like the other like anthology films that did this exact same premise with like someone coming in and being held hostage or kidnapped. I was mentioning like the Christmas tapes did that, where like he comes in and holds this family hostage, and they watch VHS tapes. And then one that we did, I think last year, was down the chimney with a shotgun, where like the guy's dressed up as a Santa because like he's escaped or he robbed the bank and he has a shotgun and he holds the woman hostage and he tells her stories. So it's like the premise has been done, um, just people being taken hostage and told Christmas stories, but it's just like, uh,
Yeah. The only thing I have to say again is just I liked it for what it was, but I really would like to see at least maybe even a sequel. Just give us more like details on what this world is, the story they're building because I enjoyed what they were getting at so much that
yeah.
I just want to have the full context of it.
Well, we could, since it could be called "Twas the Night Before" and have a prequel.
Oh yeah. I mean, unless there's a random YouTube TV show that would give us context. But
But yeah, I think we really discussed "Twas the Night" as much as we could.
yeah,
And so that's going to do it for our marathon portion of our Christmas Murderland marathon. And now it comes to the fun time where we have to put everything, rack our minds, and come up with a ranking system for the films we watched. This one is our biggest yet with 7 titles because, as I said earlier, we pulled double duty with 2 marathons. Not 2 marathons, 2 double features. Um, so I guess I'll go first. And like I said, we usually go into details why pertaining to our order. So my number 7 is a very flattened Christmas, because, as I said in the review, I was just indifferent about it. It didn't really hook me with what it was supposed to be. There was a lot of issues with the film, like the cult stuff, um, the just like the not really doing much potential with the reindeer killer, um, and like some of the kills weren't all that inventive. There's just like, again, I was just very indifferent to it, and I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. So again, I give him props, but I just it wasn't for me. My number 6 is I Know What You Did Last Christmas, because at least it was basic. It was basic and simple. Like sometimes, like at least he knew what they were doing and you knew what it was going into it. And the comically large knife was funny, and then it wasn't great by any means, but it was like at least it knew what it was trying to be. And it was even if it's cheap and quick, it was like it served its purpose, more so than A Very Flattened Christmas, which didn't really do much with what it wanted to do. My number 5 is Elf in the Hood. Because there really wasn't much going on with it. But like it's still decent enough where it was kind of stupid and just like the elves transporting back and forth and just throwing the N-word around haphazardly just for no reason. Like it's just like it was just like it wasn't ridiculous per se, but it's just like it was better than the other, the previous two in my opinion. Because I had a little bit more fun with it. The way the elf looked and just it was dumb. And speaking of dumb, my number 4, and this one was tough because I was switching these back and forth. My number 4 is Christmas Bloodbath, because I liked, again, this was just stupid. I liked the puppet. I liked the stupid the cottage cheese milk coming out of the titties. The Mr. Leach's sidekick, and some of the other, how it was just vulgar for no reason. The human fuckapede with the badgers. There's just like a lot of stupid moments in the film, and like they're just having fun with it, making a stupid movie. But it just like it had a little bit of a charm to it, where they're just like it's just being outlandish for no reason, and I just just stupid stuff like that, especially like one of the characters is a puppet. I mean, come on. There were some obvious flaws with it, but I had fun with it. My number 3 is Twas the Night. Pretty much basically what I went into. Like I liked the later act with Gingy and Krampus. I liked the look of everything. It had potential, and like I kind of want to give it a little bit higher nod because like they tried something different. Whereas like again, Christmas Bloodbath, it was just, dumb, stupid stuff. At least there's a little bit of heart and to it with Twas the Night, and like they tried to do something different, and I give them props for that. My number 2 is Nixon and Hogan Smoke Christmas, for basically the same reasons as Christmas Bloodbath is at number 4, but I just like had more fun with Nixon and Hogan and just like all the stupid shit that happened in that film. It's ridiculous and outlandish and just insanity. It's just like it's just stoner humor, but like I had fun with the predicaments that they found themselves in. I like the zombie Santa and like having sex and all the other stuff. Like you gotta fuck vegetables, and it was just stupid. And then the end, like what was one of the line? Be careful, Pastor. He may use his testicular fluid as a projectile. Just like stupid stuff like that. And like his butthole drips with the essence of Christmas. And just like she had, the weed witch just gave it her all, and I just really had fun with it. And my number 1, I mean, it's kind of hard to top it. It was Christmas Wrapping Tree, because I like the story of. I just like the story, and the whole. I like the body horror aspect. I like the gore, and like Gunther is like one of the few that's like keeping that like German splatter sort of alive. Because like he like during the 90s there was Ittenbach and Andreas Schnoz and all that, even Timo Rose, but like he's like keeping it alive, and he's still not the most well-known stateside, and like it's a shame, as I mentioned that in the review, and like he needs to get a little bit more recognition, and because he's going out there and he's doing these outlandish, fun, gory films that's just like not sort of non-PC, like especially when the tree gives him a reach around and then rips him apart. It's just like, come on, man, that's ridiculous and awesome at the same time. Because it's just one of those films. It's just like, yeah, it's ridiculous and it's right up my alley because I love stuff like that. But it's just like it's still fun. It was short and I wanted it to be longer, and like the gore effects were solid. The low button, it looked good, and just like again, it's a killer tree having sex with people, and just like that was, I don't care. That's ridiculous and awesome. Um, and I just liked it. Again, the whole body horror aspect at the end of it too. It's just like you didn't expect that, and so it was a nice surprise when like that started to happen when people were sprouts and limbs were coming out of orifices. I was like, that's awesome. But yeah, that's my list. So Ian, what's your top? What's your 7?
Okay. Half the list is exactly the same. Half. Well, less than half. Number 7 is A Very Flattened Christmas, for pretty much all of the reasons that you gave. Like, I get what it was trying to do, but, it felt like there was just a bunch of pieces missing, and, like, it just wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of just, it's definitely out of this marathon. I felt like this was the weakest. I don't care about the acting. I don't care about like a lot of the other stuff. It was mostly the story that I just was like, just had a problem with. Like everything was just so confusing, and I just left with more questions than answers, and like I just a meh film.
Yeah.
Number 6 is I Know What You Did Last Christmas. And, I thought it was a pretty, solid film for part of it, but like, I just want more. It was like, it wasn't a bad film at all. It just long, and they talk too much, and there's not like, nothing really happens until it does, and then it's over. And that's just what was I? 6. Let's see. Number 5 was Elf in the Hood. I honestly could have changed my 5 and 4. But I did like Elf in the Hood. I liked I really enjoyed the backstory of the elf and everything, but I felt like they tried a little too hard with the elf being like this wisecracking one-liner when it was such an ominous like figure in the beginning. Like I felt like it was campy, but it was just a little try too hard.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed like the story behind it, and like they did try to like actually put like real thought behind this instead of just, oh, it's just this killer elf doll thing. But my number 4 is oh my god, Nathan, what's
Nixon and Hogan.
Nixon. Yeah, Nixon, Hogan, Smoke Christmas. I wanted to say Nathan for some reason. I just have it abbreviated because I didn't want to type out that whole thing. That was my number 4. I'm not a big stoner humor fan, so it's like mostly because I've never smoked pot. So I kind of guess it's that kind of humor is lost on me a little bit. And it was out there. It knew what it wanted to be, which was stupid. And like this is one of those movies you can call it stupid and it's a compliment.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean I liked it for what it was, just mindless, dumb fun. you never knew what was going to happen next because it was, you know, you can't predict crazy. So, and that was fun. My number 3 is Christmas Wrapping Tree. Old CRT. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the lore of it more than I thought I would. When you sent me that movie, I was like, oh my God, this is either going to be extremely graphic, because sometimes they are, or honestly, I was kind of thinking of I Spit on Your Grave vibes was what I was kind of worried about in intensity. But it wasn't like, it didn't really do a whole lot than what the movie made. I wasn't expecting it to be a German film. And I was very confused for the first 10 minutes of the film of why I wasn't retaining any information. I was very tired. But yeah, no, it went in a different direction. It was interesting. I had a lot of questions. It didn't try to be something it wasn't. It was a fairly serious movie, but at the same time, it was just had such a goofy, way of going about things. The gore was pretty good. The practical effects were great. And I was like, this is, I mean, it was a pretty straightforward film. So I was like, that's, wins points in my book.
Mm-hmm.
But this honestly, a couple of these could be switched spots so easily. I went with Twas the Night for my number 2, mostly because of the fact that, one, I really liked the way everybody looked. I thought it had a pretty decent fleshed out story. I just wanted more from it. And that, me wanting more, to, just made me, I was like, man, if I'm wanting more from this, that means I really enjoyed it. For the concept and everything that they were trying to do. I really liked the way everything looked. I liked, it has a little killer doll in it. I love that. I like the way Jack Frost came out of the bag. I enjoyed Gingy for the psychotic, crazy character that he was. I was like, man, this is I absolutely loved the way every character looked, and I was just obsessed with it. And I mostly went for this for number 2 because of that, because of how nice everything looked, and I just wanted more. That's all I need. All we really needed was a little more and of the stories and a little less, and it would have been perfect. So I'm going to give it its dues and that. But Christmas Bloodbath is my number 1. Anything that has a puppet for a character is going to win my heart over because it's so stupid. This movie was goofy in all the ways I love goofy movies. Fisted had a puppet, and it made me think of that.
Moose the movie.
Yeah, Moose the movie. That was weird. And just, God, I just love it, especially when it's they don't acknowledge that it's a puppet.
Yeah.
And toxic breast milk and just random goofiness. It was just, I had so much fun watching it, even though it wasn't story wise, it wasn't the best. I just had a lot of fun of it.
Yeah, again, the only reason it kind of didn't make higher up is because it was just too long, and I just that kind of dampened it, in my opinion, to where it's way too long. And Twas the Night, as you said, it had so many good parts, and you wanted it to be longer, but it's just again, it was shorter. So I was it has, like, again, Christmas Bloodbath has solid moments of ridiculousness, and it's just
Yeah.
like they're having fun, and that trauma style, and again, I can understand it. Like, again, it was hard because, again, my 2, 3, and 4 could have, like you said, switched around, but once I'm write the list on mine, I'm just like, I guess I'm
Yeah.
content. But yeah, there's again, like, there's a lot of moments in Bloodbath that just, like, again, is out there. That's just like you didn't expect it, honestly, and it's just like, wow, this is really going for the gusto here, just, and plus it's like so vulgar too.
It really was.
Yeah. But
It just, I mean, that's my list. I like how, our bottom were the exact same.
yeah,
I was like, man, are we going to get a full like list? Because it's rare when our lists perfectly line up.
yeah. But hey, it's not too bad. I mean, I think we just, it's like last year, where my number one was Krampus and the Crazy Cats for obvious reasons. So it's just
Because it
like
was messy.
it was a fucking mess, man. And I was reveled in it because it was just like jaw dropping. Like, this is a thing. This is happening, and it's nonstop. It is constant. Like, that is. I'm still waiting for that to become a cult film. I'm waiting for people to discover that film, and it's going to be the next Room, for no reason other than just like it's just going to be one of those, like, this is ridiculous. It has that vibe to it where it's just going to have that cult status. Not, I wouldn't say Room, but like maybe Troll 2. Where it's just like it's bad, but like not intentionally bad, because it's like it's a fetish movie basically, but it's just like the way
Yeah.
it's going about it, and just like it's a mess, and I loved it for all the wrong reasons.
It
Oh, you've
really
been
was a
bad.
mess.
You've been bad. I need to spank you. Santa's horny. Oh, I miss. it's so it's so awful. It's so awful. Oh, but yeah, oh boy, don't Krampus and the Crazy Cats. What a film! But that is going to do it for the conclusion of our Christmas Murderland marathon. Like I said at the beginning, it's been a wild ride with our longest marathon yet of 7 films, and each one, again, brought it, to the table, and each one was, had their pros and cons, and we have to put this to bed for the year. It has been wild. I'll say that much. We did just looking back, we did a hell of a lot of shows and a lot of marathons, and a lot of fun things has happened over the course of the year, for better or for worse, but it happened. But we are here to put a close to 2025 and open up 2026 as we do something that we usually do for the start of these yearly New Year's, and that is a New Year's boneyard. And I've mentioned this one over the course of the month. This is going to be one of those boneyards for the ages, because there's a lot of history and backstory to this one, and to think that it finally got rediscovered and after so many years, it's going to be, like I said, a lot of people is going to be really interested on this one, because a lot of people are looking for it and know of its rarity, and just like of people wanting to find and watch this film. And we might be the first 2 people to have watched this film in like 14 years. So it's going to be a crazy boneyard. I'll say that much. So we will be here on not New Year's Day, but on January 2nd. So New Year's night, basically, with our New Year's boneyard for a very special episode. It's going to be, like I said, I can't wait to make this show and post it everywhere, because people are going to be again, some people might not know about it, others will, but I can't wait to do this one. These Boneyards are, especially this one. I've been crazy about this film ever since I learned about it. And again, I'll go into all the details and specifics as I normally do at the beginning of the Boneyard shows. So, Ian, we put 2020 on the rest and look forward to 2026 and all the crazy stuff we have to look forward to for the year. So, with that, it's going to be
New year, new
close.
shitty movies.
Oh boy, the fun. As always, Ian, it's been great talking with you. And
Likewise.
I hope everything goes well. Enjoy the new year with your family. And as well as everyone else, thank you for allowing us into your homes for the month of for our Christmas Murderland marathon. We appreciate it, giving us the time, and we're looking forward to bringing more randomness and more crazy reviews for 2026. So as always, we appreciate you for listening, and we will see you New Year's for a brand new Horror Night Oasis.
All right. Good night.